is headquarters here in Accra. We commend the Africa Prosperity Network and the AFTA Secretariat for creating this platform, which brings together leaders from all over, both from the public and private sectors of our continent, to dialogue and find solutions to lasting, sustainable development. Distinguished participants, Africa's fragmented markets are a significant barrier to our economic potential. While our continent boasts of a population of 1.4 billion people and a combined GDP of more than 3.4 trillion, a significant part of the potential remains unfulfilled and will continue to do so if our markets remain divided. Integration is not just a theoretical concept. It is a lifeline to our collective future. By breaking down barriers and creating a single market, we can unlock immense opportunities, create jobs for our youth, and Madam Zuma, I agree with you, so we don't watch them drowning in other waters. We can also, by so doing, lift millions out of poverty. These dialogues are unique because they bring together voices from diverse sectors: trade, industry, banking, and more. And they ensure that Africa's single market is inclusive and representative. For example, women have long been at the forefront of trade on this continent, dominating cross-border businesses, and yet we continue to face significant barriers, from cumbersome regulations to inadequate infrastructure. Removing these impediments is not just a moral imperative, it is an economic necessity. Ladies and gentlemen, if Africa is to realize the dream of a single market, we must prioritize infrastructural development. Without transportation and means of it, without energy systems that connect our cities, our countries, our regions, without the movement of goods and services in guaranteed ways, people might remain, or our hopes might remain, a challenge. Research from the World Bank emphasizes that while Africa has made significant strides in this area, and a critical challenge still remains, and which is the lack of interconnectedness across our infrastructure networks, caused by a fragmented approach to policy. Furthermore, power remains the continent's most pressing infrastructure gap, with over 30 countries experiencing frequent power outages. For example, to forge stronger partnerships with the private sector. Working together, we can bridge these gaps and drive both growth and transformation. Here in Ghana, we have made significant strides in developmental projects. Our airport is one of the best on the continent, I submit. And it remains a hub for regional and international travel. Our ports are being modernized to facilitate trade, and we are expanding our road and railway networks to connect key economic zones. In addition, Ghana's investments in the energy infrastructure are aimed at ensuring reliable and affordable power for industries and for households too. I must commend His Excellency the President of Ghana for his firm commitment to the development of infrastructure as a cornerstone to our economic transformation. However, as we celebrate our achievements, we must recognize that much more remains to be done across the continent and in the various regions and countries. Another important area is digital infrastructure. Mobile technology has already revolutionized financial inclusion in Africa, where services such as mobile money platforms bring banking services to the unbanked and brings banking services close to the consumer. In Ghana, we have prioritized mobile payment interoperability to ease trade and promote financial inclusion. Imagine the transformative impact of this technology. Imagine if this technology were scaled across the continent to enable seamless transactions between businesses and consumers in different countries. To expedite the single market agenda, we must invest collectively in building robust digital infrastructure. Besides connecting people and markets, this will also drive innovation and entrepreneurship. As we deliberate on these issues, I call on all of us as leaders to embrace and champion and expand this initiative. The success of the single market depends on our collective will and decisive action. We must accelerate progress to ensure that Africa's gains are realized for this and for the future generations. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we engage in today's sessions and deliberations, I encourage all of us to work, to network, to collaborate, to share ideas that move us closer and closer to a single African market. Enjoy our unique people, and I know that even more delicious cuisine awaits you at the end of today. Allow me to thank you and extend thanks again to the organizers for this kind invitation. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of our Republic, Her Excellency, Professor Naana Agyemang. Your Excellency, if it pleases you.
We've been positioned as recipients of aid rather than partners in development. As one of our sons of the soil, Steve Biko so powerfully reminded us, and I quote, "The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed." We must free ourselves from dependency, embrace self-sustainability, taking control of our own developmental trajectory. Africa is not poor, but Africans are poor. Africa has never been poor. It is the structuring of global trade, the extraction of wealth, and the legacy of historic exploitation that has impoverished us. That era must end. Distinguished guests, the time has passed for rhetoric. This is our moment to make history. We must act not in isolation, but together as united Africa. Let this be the moment to recommit ourselves to the Africa we want, an Africa that no longer exports its potential but harnesses it. Let us leave this dialogue not merely inspired, but equipped with concrete strategies, commitments, and partnerships that will bring our vision to life. I urge every participant here to actively engage in the deliberations. Let this be an opportunity to network, to strategize, and to collaborate in ways that will leave a lasting impact. As we embark on this journey, let us remember, history will not judge us.
Eliminating trade barriers, the mobilization of finance for urban development, and transport and logistics to make free trade a possibility among several others. As this conference progresses, We look forward to further engagements on sustainable energy, digital infrastructure, and other themes. Ladies and gentlemen, at MTN Ghana, and indeed wider MTN family, we are particularly excited about these important conversations and are proud to play a pivotal role as Africa's leading telecommunications provider. And I always like to add, we are born in Africa and we are from Africa, and we're proud of that heritage. This is because all the discussions of delivering Africa's single market through infrastructure will come to naught without investing in connectivity and integration, which is what the theme of the conference is all about. Digital access, internet connectivity, digital literacy, which is what I mentioned just now, and skills, as well as promotion of e-commerce, mobile banking, and a host of others are central to our vision for Africa as a brand that is at the heart of harnessing Africa's potential. This platform presents a fine opportunity for MTN to position itself as a valued partner in Africa's progress, spurring critical conversations and shaping our future. That is why for us the APT is hugely significant, assembling great minds and leaders in various sectors across the continent to come together and commit towards building a resilient Africa that can offer its people the opportunity of real growth and prosperity in a meaningful way. When I think of these things, I always am reminded that our time is now. It's a time of action, and we need to remember that we need to move forward with that mindset. Africa's prosperity is the sum of the prosperity of all of her countries working together through its cross-border institutions, such as the AFCFTA, the AFDB, and the African Union, and others. Together, in the true spirit of a pan-African
potential, we must create an enabling environment that reduces trade barriers, harmonizes regulation, and fosters policy coherence across borders. The African Union Commission is committed to work hand in hand with financial institutions, investors, and businesses to de-risk investment and accelerate the delivery of cross-border infrastructure projects. Our message to the private sector is unequivocal. You are not just the stakeholders in this journey, you are its driving force. Government and development institutions must work tirelessly to create the conditions that empower business to thrive, innovate, and lead Africa integration agenda. The journey to deliver Africa's single market is one we cannot undertake alone. Collaboration with development finance institutions, multilateral partners, and global investors is essential. Initiatives such as the Africa Investment Forum, the Program for Infrastructure Development Africa, PIDA, and the G20 Compact with Africa underscore the importance of international cooperation in advancing our infrastructure agenda. Yet, while partnerships are vital, Africa infrastructure investment must be guided by African ownership, aligned with our strategic priorities and anchored in a long-term sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, the time for deliberation is over. We have the vision, the strategies, and the political will. What we need to now is unwavering commitment, decisive action, and measurable results. However, to realize Africa's full potential, we must decisively address the infrastructure funding gap. Africa traditional funding models heavily reliant on sovereign debt and concessional lending are no longer sufficient. We must rethink our approach, moving away from direct lending toward risk mitigation mechanisms that unlock substantial private sector flow. The African Union Commission is playing a pivotal role in advancing innovative financing mechanisms to bridge this gap, ensuring infrastructure investment are sustainable, bankable, and attractive to investors. Our focus is on, first, risk mitigation through first loss guarantee funds. By establishing first loss capital structure, we can de-risk projects and grow in private investment at scale. This fund serves as a buffer, absorbing initial losses to incentivize institutional investor, pension fund, Secretary General of the BADIA, Your Excellency, my dear sister, Dr. Asfour Imani, President of the Africa Business Council, my dear friend, Gabi Asare Alche, DARPA Executive Chairman and founder of the Africa Prosperity Network. It's both a privilege and a profound responsibility to address you today on behalf of the African Union Commission and the pivotal gathering, the Africa Prosperity Dialogue 2025. This year themes delivering Africa's single market through infrastructure, invest, connect, integrate is not just a call to action, but a clarion call for unity, innovation, and bold leadership as we collectively work to transform the Africa Continental Free Trade Area from a visionary framework into a live reality for all Africans. The AfCFTA stands as one of the most ambitious and transformative initiatives in Africa's history. It is more than a trade agreement. It is a blueprint for unlocking Africa's vast economic potential, fostering industrialization, and driving inclusive growth. Yet, the realization of this vision hinges one of the critical enabler, infrastructure. Without modern, efficient, and interconnected infrastructure, the promise of a single market will remain unfulfilled. Infrastructure is not merely a facilitator of trade, it is the foundation upon which Africa's economic future will be built. Transport corridors, digital networks, energy systems, and trade facilitation mechanisms are the arteries that will connect our economies, empower our business, and enable Africa to compete on the global stage. However, the challenge is stark. The African Development Bank estimates that Africa faces an annual infrastructure financing gap of $68 billion to $108 billion. Bridging this gap demands innovative financing solutions, robust public-private partnership, and a concerted effort to mobilize private sector capital. We must also leverage blended finance mechanisms and explore new avenues of investment to ensure that infrastructure projects are not only viable but also sustainable. The private sector is the lifeblood of the Africa economic transformation.
Dlamini Zuma, the chairperson of the APN Advisory Council, our traditional leaders, our CEO colleagues, business leaders, senior officials, the media, and you, our distinguished guests. I'm delighted to join you all this year's Africa Prosperity Network dialogue here in Accra. On behalf of MTN Ghana, it is my singular honor and privilege to welcome our brothers and our sisters from other parts of the African continent to Accra. I trust you will enjoy your visit and get to experience the finest hospitality that Ghana is famed for. I'm sure you will get to experience the Akwaaba spirit, and I'm sure you will use the best network in Ghana, MTN. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for many years, Africa has suffered a poor image as the world's poster child for negative stereotypes such as war, disease, famine, and many others. Whilst the continent does have its challenges, there's also truths that risk getting drowned in a single story being projected as the narrative for Africa. Ours is a vibrant continent with a youthful population that can be harnessed for productivity with the right skills set. It's a continent with huge natural resources that can transform its fortunes with the right management and governance skills. It's a continent that offers exciting investment opportunities. And we as MTN are an example of how much that investment can be and how much it can be good for the continent and for business. In trade and energy and in digitization and many, many other opportunities exist in Africa. Indeed, Africa is the place to be. This is the continent. And I mentioned the youthful population, and to pick up what Dr. Dlamini Zuma said, and I know the VP feels strongly about this, we have to develop our women. our young girls. We need to give them ICT skills. We have to give them digital skills so they can be part of the development of our continent. We are committed to that as MTN. This morning, the various conversations that took place here at the APD